So I wanted, so we're gonna get the exciting part for me, which is more or less it is kind of more of the detailed view of what a front end is and kind of what a back end is. So imagine that you had, okay, so let's kind of recap a little bit. Just think of the best way to think of a website is kind of like vacant land or land, real estate, and the best way to think about a website is as real estate, digital real estate. But it kind of has some similarities. Now, there are some obviously some differences. You know, one's online, one's real, one's not in the cyber world, and one's not in cyber world. But they do have some similarities. So every website, again, has two parts: domain name and website hosting or website files. And the domain name is like your vacant land. And I've gone into this in previous videos, so I'm not going to go too depth into this again. But basically, again, it's your domain is kind of like vacant land. It's the pointer to the land. It has the address, but doesn't necessarily have anything on it. It's kind of like your pointer. It says, okay, well, Google.com is over here and on this server or this computer, and then of course you have the actual files themselves is kind of the building part. It's the interesting part about it. Right, the building doesn't have the address though, but it's the vacant land. Now, here comes the interesting part. Now we gotta get into more of the meat and bones of what the heck makes a building up. Like, you know, in real estate, you know, it's wood or metal, wood or metal studs with a roof and a foundation and walls. That kind of makes up real estate. But what is the equivalent of that in the cyber world? Well, there's three. There's three main, really only three parts to a cyber website, a digital website. Number one is HTML. I'll go over what these are in a second. Second thing is CSS, and third thing is JavaScript. HTML is kind of like a skeleton. You know, it's kind of like it doesn't do much by itself. Like, you know, you can't move a skeleton without the muscles and the skin on it, or really just the muscles. But the skeleton would be the HTML itself. It's like closing it is tags. HTML tags is typically what you'll see referred to as, and basically that's just like I'll put an example on here, but think of it as the skeleton. Every single website, no matter, because remember, they're always going to have the same building blocks. They might have different ways of being built, but they're going to have the same building blocks because, because if everyone had a different building blocks, then it'd be a lot harder to show the website to every single user out there, right? Where like because that's kind of the goal is you want as many people as possible to see your website, as much traffic as possible, aka. So, if you didn't have a singular building block style, you can have several styles, but you have to have the same building blocks, the same Lego pieces. So the other thing is you want to have CSS, or what's called cascading style sheets. Basically, this is what makes everything look nice. This is how you style everything. It's called your styling language, right? And I'll get into what languages are a little bit later on, but for right now, just know you have your kind of your skeleton, which is your base. You have your cascading style sheets, which is the styling, which is how everything looks. And then the third thing, which is JavaScript, which is going to be your, it's the muscles, like I kind of referred to it before. It's the muscles of that body that kind of make everything move and do stuff, right? It'd be pretty boring if we all had skeletons and skin but no muscles to move anything. Kind of a boring world, right? Same thing with same thing with the internet. Without JavaScript, yeah, everything looked really nice, but you want to be able to submit anything, or nothing to be interactive at all, right? Now, that's what we call, those three languages are for what we call the front end. There's also a back end. And the best way to think about this, I think I've covered this before, but I'm going to cover it again, is basically just a, what is it? I remember. I have a really nice example I like to use, so which I'm going to use here, which is, okay, imagine a physical. Okay, let's go back to that real estate example. So you have your files on the website, and then you have, think of it as a retail store. You walk in, and everything, and just imagine this for a second. Everything you can see, feel, and touch, everything tangible to you right in that moment, is the front end. It's everything tangible. It's the store shelves. It's the product on the shelves. It's the the pictures of things. It's the lettering on the walls. It's the cash registers. All that stuff. That's your front end. That's what you is kind of how everything looks, right? But the most important part is there's a second part, which is kind of behind the scenes, which is basically just like in real estate. You have, a house would be pretty boring. This house would be pretty boring if it was just walls, a foundation, and a roof, right? If it had no electrical and plumbing, it'd be pretty boring, right? I hope you would agree. But let's say now that equivalent is in websites, because now you have the back end, which is your electrical and plumbing equivalent in the real estate world. So, and imagine, like, I can't necessarily see the wiring in the walls, but I can see the light is on, so I know, oh, well, there must be electrical running. I have faith that the electrical is running. So that's kind of how that works. And then you have, I don't really know of an equivalent for plumbing, but it would basically be like the back end language would be the stuff that your electrical and plumbing in real estate. So, and I know I've kind of probably rambled on a little bit, but it's I love this stuff. I love talking about this stuff. If I could do this all day and just talk to you guys, that would be in heaven. I'd be heaven on earth, right? But I'm gonna end it here. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you did, subscribe to this channel, or subscribe, or however you can support this channel. I'd appreciate it. But either way, you are very much appreciated. You're very much loved, and you're wonderfully and fearfully made. Have a good day.